Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. Real quick, please note that the trades made and positions taken during this demonstration are not investment advice, and we make no recommendation that you should make trades similar to those you will see here. Specific trades and positions are dependent on many factors, such as your experience, sophistication, your risk tolerance, your ability to withstand the loss of all your capital, and your investment objectives. It is likely, if not certain, that these factors will determine the trades that you see in this demonstration are not suitable for you. Greystone Trading is not an investment advisor and is providing you no investment advice or recommendations on stocks, positions, or trades. Alrighty. I have shared screen here. I have my levels. Let's just wait a second for everyone to jump on in, and I'm going to break down the levels that we have right now. Alrighty. Good morning, Jerry.
Andy, good morning, sir. How you doing?
I am doing well, bro. I am doing well. So we're getting a significant reaction here now uh, to nothing, apparently.
Yeah, I don't have any news on mine. That must be a happy Trump guy.
Coincidentally, 10 a.m., right? Let's see what we get here. Um, just to go over quickly the levels that I do have, ladies and gentlemen, I have my previous day low marked all the way down here at 587.60. That is not relevant at the moment. Most importantly, what I have noted up here is the most significant level of resistance that I had based on these reactions here. This current candle would be the first to close above it after this 590.25 was formed as resistance on these 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive candles in pre-market. And then up here, 590.82, I have this level here. You can see after we flushed and made new lows in the afternoon session yesterday, this is 215, 220. We're able to form a low and really nice support here at 590.82. So we've come up and tested that level, right? Heading into this candle, I loved the way that we had formed this range. So just to give you guys clarity on heading in, when I jumped on this live trading call, I I had a very clearly defined range of upper bound resistance, lower bound support here. This lower bound support, we have multiple touches, of course, most recently on these two consecutive candles, and we almost traded below it in the final third. Which is there. That's what I had noted. That was confirmed nicely. We now have a minute left. I know I'm going quickly, ladies and gentlemen, because of our timing here. So let me go ahead and pull up contracts just in case. Though I would need a close above this 590.82, but we are going to go ahead and pull up the May 22nd 593 calls on a 5-minute candle close above at 590.82. And this is a bit of an interesting potential entry that I'll speak more to in a second. Okay, let's stay dialed here. We got 20 seconds left on the 5-minute candle. 15 seconds left. I need a 5-minute candle close over 590.82 to enter these May 22nd 593 calls. All right, so staying away, and let me just back up for a second here, okay, and slow down a little bit. As always, right, I have my SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, the 5-minute chart on the left-hand side here. And I have the 1-minute chart here on the right-hand side. Any and all conviction that I have to take entry, to engage in the marketplace, comes from My analysis on the 5-minute chart comes from my ability to determine a clearly defined range of upper bound resistance and lower bound support. Okay. This range formed very, very nicely. Okay. Market opens, we trade all the way up here and stop exactly where we were unable to trade above during pre-market, confirming this level of 590.25. As I'm preparing for the day, and all I've done is plot my pre-market high, pre-market low, previous day low, and I have my previous day high up there as well. I have those levels in place, and I'm looking for a range to form from 9:30 to 10 a.m. In this case, it certainly does not always happen this way. In this case, I didn't have to modify anything. This level was confirmed first, right? We traded all the way up and stopped here. And then this level was confirmed just shortly after. Okay. This level, likewise, has been in place based on this action here. So I haven't really done very much, but I've been able to clearly understand the story that's being told. And when we hopped on, was looking for a 5-minute candle close above our clearly defined level of resistance, right? However, we got such significant speed, such significant movement here that the basic waiting for a 5-minute candle close above resistance becomes nuanced once we test our next key level of resistance, right? Jerry may have this level noted as overarching resistance, right? So when we get this reaction and then we're trading back down during this 5-minute candle, we need to see price close above this level here in order to have conviction that SPY will continue to trade up. Now, of course, my criteria and the Graystone premium criteria for entry is a firm candle. And what's really nice about this, and in many nuanced scenarios that you may find yourself in that may at first glance appear a little bit more challenging, what happens is that if this were a firm candle, it would close above this level. Those two things often coincide. So if you just tell yourself, you don't even worry about this, but you need a firm candle. You need a firm candle close for entry, right? That's very basic, foundational Greystone premium. Just that foundational principle protects you from taking entry on this. And you can see this next candle, yeah, we got a bit of a move up again, but we're seeing now 2 consecutive reactions to that 590.82. So we're going to continue to see how this plays out. We have 1:30 left on this 5-minute candle. There's certainly plenty of time left for this to trade up and confirm it's ready to trade beyond the 590.82. And if not, we'll just continue to wait patiently. Alrighty, does that make sense, everyone? John, can you give the numbers? It's hard to see the numbers on your screen. So we have 590.82 here. That's really the level that we need a 5-minute candle close above. We have 590.25, which is the true resistance from our clearly defined range. And then we have 589.79, which I would call a support. If we were to come back down, confirm this, get a 5-minute candle close below, I'd likely be looking for puts. Of course, that's theoretical at the moment because we're not there.
Andy, I'm curious if we hadn't had that 1 minute candle creating that massive wick, which it basically was from that one candle, would that have changed your conviction for entry on this? Let's say that we had just a tiny wick
Yeah.
on the prior green candle, how would you have approached that?
Yeah, if we had gotten a close here with a smaller wick, I would have taken it.
Me too. Yep, I agree. And I think there's a couple different ways you can think of it. The way you explained, I loved it. Not firm. I think it also confirmed our hypotheses that next overarching level of resistance was going to be causing some selling pressure. So that even not only did we have less firm of a close of the candle, but we also confirmed that was going to be a level that price would react to, kind of thinning our draw quite a bit. So I'll let you take over as it's doing some new stuff now. But yeah,
Yeah.
if it had been for that candle, I probably would have taken that, and we may have gotten some profit. But it was really that one candle that deterred me from that entry.
Yep. Alrighty, so coming back and testing, and for the moment we've breached this 590.25, coming back into this range. So interesting to not see a very strong reaction and use of support there, because on this move down, we hadn't quite tested it, this 590.25. So let's see if we wanna, we got 345 here left on the 5-minute candle. Let's see, do we want to hold on, stay in the range, react down here? We've got plenty of time, as we know. Absolutely anything can happen here. And the thesis for puts, of course, would be based on how we react to 589.79. If we confirm that level and ultimately close below it, right? We've confirmed multiple times after stalling, after finding an inability to trade higher, we've found support here at 589.79. This level is, of course, significant as well from the 3 p.m. and 3:05 bodies from yesterday afternoon. But we have this really long wick here and lots of liquidity, lots of market participants getting stopped out with this move. And if we can tip our hand, if we can get this 5-minute close below, we got plenty of room down. Let's
It
see
looks like
here.
it's confirming it now, almost to the penny. What else is really nice about that 589.79 is it's below the 2 swing points in the pre-market as well, which puts it into a very bearish structure going back down.
All right, just shy of a minute, getting some buying pressure here. Fighting for that 590.25. And I don't think it's an accident where exactly we came down. So I'm gonna modify this level by just 2 cents to the bottom of this wick, if that's indeed where we close. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up puts here just in case. I'm gonna pull up the May 22nd 588 puts. Okay, that's the May 22nd 588 puts. All right, and we'll be looking for entry on those puts on a 5-minute candle close below 589.79. And I'm gonna correct myself as I modify that to 589.81. So this looks a little choppy, a little ugly at first glance, but we were able to read price really effectively and really clearly based on this level here. As Ryan said, both the week close on the 5-minute candle, as well as the long wick and inability to close above this 590.82. The clean entry in my mind at this point is on puts on a 5-minute candle close below support here. If we want to come back up, we'd need something a little bit cleaner, ideally, to set up here. Timothy said, I'm sorry I got in a hair late. What is the reason for having upper resistance at 590.82? Maybe you just caught it, but that level was very nicely confirmed in the afternoon yesterday. So we were able to hold on to it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And then you can see this aggressive flush below. Ended up reclaiming it, using it as support here. And at this point, though, this is significant, 590.25. It doesn't tell me anything about it. It couldn't offer me conviction. And to clean this up, I'm just going to delete it for right now to make this as clean as possible and get as strong of an understanding as possible. All right, so we've excuse me, invalidated this move here with 2 minutes left. Let's see if we want to push for new lows. Just 20 cents away from that key level. We've gotten some aggressive speed, and now we've slowed down, and that's totally okay. The more we confirm these levels, the greater clarity, the greater conviction we have that once we break, we know we have a higher and higher probability for a price to follow through in our direction. So we have no problem waiting patiently here. Each 5-minute candle is a new piece of data, adds new context to the story that's playing out in front of us, and we're appreciative for those data points, for the additional context that we continue to get. Manuel said, what about 590.53 for resistance? Is that right up here? Yeah, you maybe saw me putting my cursor over here a few minutes ago. I see. I of course see what you're talking about, right? We have, uh, it's tighter, and it would just be a little bit more aggressive of an entry. That's all, right? Anything from here to here, you're identifying, a level that SPY has been unable to trade above from the recent action that we have. The specific dollar and cents level that you determine is ultimately based on how aggressive or conservative you want to be. So me having it up here and just saying, yes, I absolutely see this, and we may even confirm it in real time again in the next couple seconds. But come on, for me, I have to anticipate some sort of reaction here. And I'm just going to be a little bit more conservative and leave this level here. And most likely, listen, if we're going to get this move, we got 3.5 minutes left. If we're going to make this move here, we're most likely going to take this out as well. Right? Or it'll, uh, take it out briefly and end up being a weak candle close, but it's above this, right? It's unlikely that it would just close above this and not react up here. But we'll see. We got 3 minutes left. That's ultimately how I think about that, though. This is just a little bit more aggressive. This is a little bit more conservative. But you're not wrong.
Yeah, the level that he just mentioned, Andy, and then what you have marked at the 590.82, I have that marked as well. And then you have the opening candle of the pre-market, just slightly above that. So there's definitely, if there was like say 60 to 70 cents of room from where that level was to that overarching area, I would think with the proper candle there would be plenty of room to get a risk-free trade. But I think that's a little too close for a either the entry to get your positions off and to get a risk-free trade. It'd be highly unlikely to not have a reaction at 590.82.
Yes. Do you expect price to react at that long green wick? Potentially, but we'd likely have a nice draw up to there. And there actually isn't very much. Yes, maybe we have this, which is pretty close. But, there's only one absolute touch here. If we were talking about tomorrow and this were the absolute previous day high, but as of now, this is just a long wick. There was no news. It may have been like a tweet that was a rumor. And so listen, it may end up being significant still, but we just only have one piece of proof right now, only one data point that says watch out for 591.41. Whereas I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 data points. Nine times the market said, hey, watch out for 590.82. It only told me once to watch out for 591.44. That's really how I think about understanding key levels. Like what has price told me is significant the most number of times today. Right? Does that make sense? All righty. Let's see here. Nice initial reaction.
Yes.
And let's see if it wants to maybe try to hold on once more. We have just under 4 minutes left. I do have the May 22nd 588 puts pulled up. They're currently priced at around 176, 174, 172 as
And
this.
there's that retest. Beautiful. That's good.
So right now we're being told very clearly you have the right level, right? The data that we're being given right now says that 589.81 that you've marked based on the 3 previous reactions you've had. Yes, it's again significant. I'm telling you once more. And so let's see. We got 3 minutes left. We've gotten speed in either direction. Anything can happen in another 60 seconds. Maybe we'll be talking about calls, but let's just be patient here and focus on what we can control. And this is why 5-minute candles, guys, and 5-minute candle closes are so key. You know, without them and without using the close and that time when it closes as that ultimate and exclusive opportunity for entry, just protects you so much from these moves, right? This is a new low. You know how many people are taking entry on a break, on a breakdown or this breakout here? Because we're getting this new low, because we're getting this new high. But the story is not over yet. All right, we got 2 minutes left here. We'll be told clearly. Don't, I'd urge you not to ever feel that anxiousness or desire to take the entry because the story's not over yet. You don't know the end yet. Minute 11, minute 10, minute 9. Let's see. Once again, May 22nd, 588 puts on a 5-minute candle close below 589.81. Needs to be a firm candle. Fifteen seconds left. Five seconds left. Looking for entry here and buying here. Filled at 179. And stop is going to be in at 154. Okay, that's a 15% stop. We're totally fine with a retest or even a brief breach of this 589.81, and we've breached it now. We ultimately want this move that we've now seen in the opening 30 seconds to be invalidated to confirm this 589.81 as resistance, right? Now that we're attempting here. And again, stop isn't at 154. We're at 164, 165 here. On that retest, we want to continue to see that price react, use that 589.81 as a magnet here, and then confirm resistance, confirm this move down, give us that beautiful long wick. No stress, no worries. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we have our stop loss in place. Our predetermined risk management system takes care of the rest. We focus on the two things that are in our control, which is taking the highest quality setups that we have available to us. We've done exactly that today. We waited patiently for 30 minutes for the one and only high quality setup in my mind, and I may say humbly in my mind, that has presented itself today. And what else is there, right? We take the high quality setup, we let the risk management system take care of the rest. Let's see if we want to flush for new lows. I'm going to remove that stop. If we can get some speed beyond 185, I'm going to take that stop off now. Not quite able to get to our 8, 9, 10% there. And we've got plenty of room, so. Now, if we come back to those highs, I think maybe I saw 189 as the absolute high. If we come back to those highs and we test this exact low and we don't immediately flush, I am going to look to take the first half off. All right, and this is where I'm going to be watching the bid and the ask a little bit, right? If I see the bid at 37 here, and I'm going to take half off here, filled at 188, and moving my stop to break even, just going risk-free here, prioritizing going risk-free. And let's see if we can get this nice flush. All right, you have 195, 196 here. I'm going to take another quarter off, filled there at 197. And I'm going to put my stop in here at 180 and go risk-free here. And just a few cents away from stop at the end of the day, what we need to see for continuation is a firm 5-minute candle close. All right, firm 5-minute candle closes are always the name of the game. If this wants to come back up, maybe flip green, then we'd likely get stopped on this last quarter, which we are totally fine with. And if it wants to keep going, we are totally fine with that as well. I think we've got plenty of room down. So I'm just going to keep my stop in here at 180 and let the market makers print this chart however they'd like. Take care of the rest for us. Again, stop is sitting here at 180 for this final quarter. And I'm stopped out there. At break even on that final quarter. So nice, solid little move. There's plenty of room down. I really like this 5-minute candle close below, and we had a really nice confirmation of that 589.81 all in the same candle coming all the way back up here with a beautiful firm flush taking out those lows, and this certainly could keep heading down, but that stop's gotta go in to break even as always. So how'd you
And
guys do on that one?
beautiful job on reading price action this morning. Fantastic execution. I love just listening to how you commentate and how you manage your emotions. I think that clearly was the best setup we saw in my mind. Even with that, let's say that one wick hadn't happened, this was the setup I was waiting for. Whenever you get that close and you get that quick retracement, when you had that green candle, Andy was so calm. He had his risk management in place. It gets a little scary because there wasn't even barely a move down on that first candle. But we saw that level of 589.81 both reacted as support and resistance. We saw in the pre-market, it demonstrated that that level will hold. And it also, just like Andy said, you wait for the candle close because the story's not over. And when it wicked up, we had a lot of evidence that that level would hold now that it closed below 589.81, that it would hold and continue to push down, which it did. And he didn't panic. Even when we got close to that 5-6%, he wasn't worried that, we're going to miss on a green trade, waited for it to distribute down, took profit where he had planned and where he had, you know, had executed and spoke out loud what his strategy was, and he waited for it and he got it. And I think, if you can, anytime you get Andy on here, listen to how he manages his emotions and how he sticks to his strategy. It's second to none.
Well, dude, I appreciate that, and I'll say it's, the system is the star, and I just have a very deep and profound trust in it, because I've seen it play out. I have so much data. I've seen it just play out and change so many people's lives, and I myself for over 5 years. Trading this way on a daily basis. So it comes from a very deep and profound understanding of the system that I abide by. And I think that sense of calm comes from seeing it in real time. So, I don't trust you if this is your first day, your first week, or your first month trading with Graystone Premium and using this system, to have that same level of certainty, right? But what really I find to be helpful, and I still do this, is meditate on why it is that the steps that you're abiding by, the activities that you're involved in on a daily basis with your trading, why they're so powerful. Why by doing nothing else other than just sizing with 20% of your overall account in every single trade and having a 15% stop loss and just doing that in every single trade and not deviating from it, not having super high conviction on a particular entry and entering with 70% of your overall account, or not using a stop loss, just never doing things like that. Meditating on, if I just do that, I will literally beat 90% of people that play this game. Nothing else. If I don't know anything about charts, even about the rest of the risk management system, if the only thing I do is enter with the same percentage of my account and the same relatively tight stop loss in every trade, I'm going to beat most people. I'm not going to become a millionaire in a day or a month or a year, most likely, but I'm going to beat most people that try to win this difficult yet incredibly rewarding game. Right. And that's the first piece, right? And then it's like, okay, now I take profit right around the same percentages on my first half of the position. And anytime I take profit, I ensure there's no possible way that a green trade can go red. Again, outside of committing yourself to these rules, that doesn't really exist. Every trader loses sleep about green trades going red. I promise you. I remember being up 200% on an entry I had taken that day, that morning, and I was swing trading at the time. I was up 200%. Didn't sell anything. Woke up the next morning down 95%. That happens all the time if you don't abide by any, really any one of these rules. And when they're combined together, they create this environment where over time, you're just going to come out on top. And I think that's what can create, the true unbiased, calm approach when you sit down in front of your charts every morning. All right, but let me know if you guys have any follow-up questions on any of the action today, the setup in general, the way that I managed the trade as well. Awesome. Special at 3.2% on that trade, and at 180, half 187, second part at 191, then stop. Beautiful. Jason, 7.4% on that trade. Very nice. Eric, wrong on your number. Okay. Awesome. Still good. Let's see, Amanda. Good job. My settings are defaulted to 10% stop loss, so I got stopped out at 165. It went down to 160 and then came back up. So those who have more than 10% stop loss won that trade. Right. So for clarity, we've been in a very volatile, generally speaking, unprecedented time since late February with tariffs, and Jerry, Ryan, myself, and many others have widened stops. And just to be clear, like nearly every trade taken on live trading has been called out with a wider than 10% stop loss. So just be mindful of that if you are using automatic stop losses. Of course, any and all decisions are at your own discretion. But if you'd like to have a 15% stop loss for the same reasons that we're using them, then you can change it. And by the way, I'd probably do 14%, or if you're using a 10% stop loss, 9%. I'll always, do 1 or 2 points above what the true 15% is to account for slippage. Jaswant said, "Hi Andy, how does one manage to lock in profits when the contracts hit a high and before they come down so fast? I saw 190, want to sell off positions, but by the time I clicked sell and got filled, it went to 186 and filled me at 186." Listen, I also saw 190 and couldn't get filled. It was moving quickly there. Yeah, that definitely happens. I don't try to get the absolute best fills on every entry. That's just a losing game. It's very unlikely, but I wouldn't fixate on it.
Yeah, and sometimes those fills will happen a little bit better for you. Sometimes it'll retrace and
Exactly.
give you a little bit less, and the overall is going to work out. The big picture of 100 trades, like that number is going to average out to be in your favor, or it's still going to average out to be what it is. Like there's no way out of that. Like sometimes you'll get filled at 186, and sometimes it'll be 188 or 191 or something like that. It's just a game of averages.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't waste a lot of headspace on that personally.
Jamie said, "To understand, we always buy calls and buy puts." Correct. So if we have conviction that price is going to trade higher, we're going to buy puts. And if we have conviction price is going to trade lower, or excuse me, did I say puts? If we have conviction price will trade higher, we buy calls. Okay. And calls increase in price if SPY goes higher. And if we have conviction SPY will go down, we buy puts, and those puts will increase in value as SPY goes down. Right. So I know sometimes if you're brand new to options and there's course videos, I try to make analogies that simplify it. But I know it can seem strange. Why am I buying, right? Maybe you're familiar with shorting. You've heard things like shorting. Why am I buying an asset? Uh, and then why is it going up in price if I want SPY to go down, right? But of course, the reason it goes up in price is so that you can sell it for more. If it went down in price, the asset that you purchased would be becoming less valuable, which would be not good, right?
Yeah, we're never selling options. Like that, the analogy I would make is the sellers of options are like the Vegas book. So like if you're gonna bet against the underdog, you're buying action from the Vegas book, and if the underdog wins, then you win and they take the loss. But if you wanted to ever sell options, you have to have a tremendous amount of capital. Because if you end up someone exercises that option, you have to cover all of the shares that would come with that, which every contract is 100 shares. So I did that a little bit before I got into Graystone. I sold Tesla puts, and yeah, it's a whole nother ballgame.
All righty. Any other questions? Damn, Jerry.
Yeah, brother.
Let's
I got a
go.
smaller account now, so I'm a little bit more, for lack of a better term, I have a lot more. I'm a lot more confident with not taking 15 and $17,000 stops, buddy.
Yeah.
So I can drive my account a little faster.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was a good hit. It's been a really good week. I know some people are, we've had a handful of stop outs in the morning, but the afternoon sessions have been fantastic. Like it's been really good so far.
Yeah, they've been awesome.
We caught a beautiful one yesterday afternoon. Andy, Ryan and I did like this just a gorgeous flush down like trailers. I think we got
Here.
into it like at yep, that one there. We entered
Yeah.
on this candle there and just rode that whole thing down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Like
I
trailers got stopped at 195 and it was just gorgeous.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I
It's
think
so beautiful.
yeah, my entry was like 138 and got hit at 195 on the trailers.
All right.
So
And you
yeah, it
could
was
have,
absolutely just stunning.
yeah, you could have had anything here from all the way down here.
Mhm.
Stunning. Who took that one in the afternoon yesterday?
Yeah, I think we had a handful of people that took that one with us and got some fantastic trailers. I know a few people. Marlon, I want to call him out because he's dialed in every single morning, every single afternoon,
Mhm.
getting really good fills, sometimes better than us. Anytime that we're executing a little bit differently with trailers, he's always right there with us. He's really dialed in right now and getting some fantastic execution and fills.
Yeah, he's been asking some fantastic questions too, and like you can definitely tell he's putting a lot of hours in behind the scenes to learn the program. So well done on that, Marlon.
Incredible.
I have a feeling he'll be on your one of your stories here soon, Andy. There's no question about it.
Let's go. John said, Andy, Jerry, how do you feel about 589.26?
I already marked it.
Yeah, it's funny. Before I figured this is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, for sure. This is where
Yeah,
we've um
1
been
million
unable
percent.
to break below.
Yeah, and there's a beautiful drawdown with that big green candle there. This wick that we're currently that just closed above it just rejected that very well and closed on it. There's a lot of room downward there. And then what else is I like about that level at 589.27 is a firm candle close above that is also below that last little swing point in the pre-market as well. So just
This
confirming
or
this one here at your 9 o'clock, 8:55 and 9. So that
yeah,
level, this candle closing is below that swing point, just confirming more downward pressure, in my opinion.
yep, absolutely.
But Ryan can speak on that. I learned that from him. So
I was just going to comment on Daniel was asking about afternoon sessions. In the last couple of weeks, we have been doing better. Price action's just been a little cleaner. We had a few mornings, I think, sandwiched in between CPI and PPI. We had kind of a really wicky, choppy morning. We had a kind of some goofy price action Monday morning after the big sell-off Friday overnight, and then the recovery. We kind of hit probably some area of indecision. And that goofy price action that we've had maybe like 3 or 4 times in the mornings the last couple of weeks we haven't had that in the afternoon, so we have done better recently. Now that's not, I wouldn't say that's a long-term thing that will continue. Today, price action was beautiful this morning,
Mhm.
and Andy was super patient and waited for in my opinion, the best setup that I saw. But we've been presented cleaner price action and maybe a little more clarity in the afternoons so far. Just this is just a short time. But if you haven't been able to hop on the afternoons at all, if you can make time, hop on. There's a little bit of a difference in what we're able to read from price action just because we have more information from the day. And a lot of times you can look to see how price has delivered between the morning and afternoon to see if this breakout strategy is confirming that once you clear above resistance or below support will distribute. And so we have just a little bit more information. In the long term, they're both, morning sessions, afternoon sessions are end up evening out. But right now, afternoon's been a little cleaner. But um, when you see price action like this in the mornings, it's a fantastic opportunity as well.
Yep. So Corey said, could you speak on resistance? I have 589.87. Yeah, so maybe. So if you remember, I originally had 79. I modified it to grab this wick. And if we move this up, it'd be beautiful if we could be holding on to this, and that would be beautifully in line with this. It's not quite, but I'd probably leave it here. But I see what you're saying
Mhm.
here. Maybe it's, yeah, 85, 86.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a classic example of where that was, support, and that's now becoming resistance. And then, it was so confirmed throughout the pre-market of where that level was respected a lot above and below. Like those are just really classic levels. And then the same thing with the 589.27. If you look back left on it through your pre-market, I mean, it really respected it a lot, like from your 8 o'clock window, 8:05 window to 8:20 window, and then again really early in the pre-market, like at 7:20 as well. Like lots of just confirmations above and below that all morning, and in our live session as well.
What's the weather like in Florida these days,
Hot
Andy
and
and
muggy,
Jerry?
brother.
It's
Hot and muggy, buddy. Summer is here, bro.
yeah, definitely getting a little bit more on the uncomfortable side.
We have a trip to Orlando planned for June.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very
Concrete
nice.
jungle, huh?
For Disney or what?
Yeah, we're doing Disney and Universal.
Nice.
So hopefully
What time in June?
it's like 8 days. It's over my
Oh, nice.
birthday. So it's the week of the 8th through the 14th.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Jerry, you should swing down to Orlando.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I got my a lottery ticket got pulled for me. I applied for like 9 years ago. I got approved to shoot one bluefin tuna this year. I've been on that list for literally 9 years, and my ticket got pulled. So I'm gonna try to plan that trip this year to the Azores. I don't have any dates yet specifically picked out, so I got to line up charter captains and stuff like that. But I'm allowed one bluefin tuna, so I'm gonna do my best to get that. Those things get well over 1,000 pounds, and would love to check that off my spearfishing bucket list.
Holy,
That is absolutely incredible.
So
that's insane.
So I don't have but that doesn't interfere with anything that you're talking about. I don't even have the dates lined up yet. I got the number, got pulled about a week and a half ago, and I started emailing charter boat captains and getting all the stuff lined up of moon dates and when the best time to be there is. So story will be told here soon, hopefully. But
Wow.
pretty excited to do that trip. It's been on my list for a long time, and honestly, like it's kind of wild how the universe and God works in your favor sometimes. Because if that would have hit 3 years ago, I wouldn't have had the money to do the trip. So um, it's just kind of ironic how that works. So
Wow.
pretty happy about that.
That's awesome. That's super cool, man. That'll be really, really special.
Yeah. Yeah, I only know a handful of guys that shot the big Atlantic bluefins. So we'll see what happens. But I mean they get well over 1,000 pounds, so I'm gonna give it
Yeah.
a go.
Yeah.
From everything I've read and witnessed on those things, they're not very hard to shoot. They'll kind of size you up because you're small enough to be eaten by a 1,200 pound fish kind of thing. So it's more about your gear holding up and it landing it. But I'm gonna find out soon.
Yeah. So you've gotten a significant move here. I'm not looking at taking entry on this, but I would still be very cognizant of this level here if it were me. At the very least,
Hmm.
I wouldn't be taking an entry based on the close above 589.83. We've got too much overarching resistance here.
Especially with a big, powerful candle like this being so close to all the tops of these candles here and that
Right. If you had
that
gotten
swing
if you had
point.
gotten a close around here,
Hmm.
you would be
I mean,
much more likely.
I feel like that'd be a lot more likely and high probability to get a risk-free trade there. And just
Right.
my opinion. I don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have no way of knowing what SPY would do, but I would have felt a lot more comfortable if that would have closed like below 590.
Yeah, I agree. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and wrap here. Thank you all for a fantastic session. Thank you, Jerry and Ryan, as always. And we'll see you all very soon. All righty. Take care. And yeah, have an awesome rest of your Wednesday. We'll chat soon, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.